Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is CMG TALK. This is Catherine Gallagher, your host. And today I'd like to talk about time and how aware we can become of our time. And usually we become aware of our time, don't we, under certain circumstances. We might be just stopping or reflecting with someone or within ourselves. It might be an anniversary, a birthday, a life event. It might be that a celebration has come round again and we think, oh my goodness, it doesn't seem that long ago that happened. It just seems to be around the corner. Here we go again. This has happened now. Or maybe there's been something you've been waiting for to happen. It might be for months or even years, and suddenly it's upon you and you think, where's the time gone? Often time slips away from us. Sometimes we've been meaning to deal with something, we've been wanting to deal with something, and we've been putting it off. And we look back and realise it's been weeks or months or sometimes even many years, and we just haven't found the right time. Suddenly we look at people around us, family, friends, children, loved ones, and we suddenly realise they're getting older. Time has gone past. We might move through time. We might relocate back. We might have moved away and then realise that because time has passed, that maybe people are getting older. We might think it's time to move back home. It's time because you want to be closer to hand. You might find that with time, you're planning for something. It's time that I took that holiday, or it's time that I took that family trip, or it's time that I did that life event. It's time. Time is our greatest commodity. We often take time for granted though, don't we? We assume we have so much time, forever time, but time is precious. Time is not there for us to play with. Time is there for us to pay attention to, because if we're not careful, time does run away from us. Time suddenly is upon us. Time suddenly is given a marked event. Suddenly we're told you've got a finite time. Suddenly you're told you only have so much time. Suddenly you're aware as you get older you have less time. And I hear people tell me that all the time. Through illness, being elderly, they're told you only have so much time. Time we can take for granted. Time we lose sight of. Time runs away from us. Time is precious. I tell people all the time that the time that I give to people is the most important thing. If I don't turn up and show up, make time, nothing happens. I say that to people, and I've said that to people for the last at least 4 decades, if not more. I make time for people. I show up and turn up. I like to bring people together through making time, because I know how precious time is. Do you? Sometimes we forget that as time passes, we haven't made that phone call, we haven't reconnected, we haven't turned up and showed up, we haven't made the time. Before we know it, it's too late. One of the worst things we have in life is regret. I wish, if only I had made the time, taken the action, made the time to say something, made the time, but I didn't. So if you're sitting listening to this and thinking, I ought to do this in time, in good time, this needs to get done, or I ought to make that phone call and say those words, I need to make the time, or I should have done this by now, make the time. Do it now. Do it now, because there's no good time, better time than now. Now is the time to do things. Now is the time to make that phone call. Now is the time to say those words, and now is the time to take the action. Because every time you procrastinate and put something off, you're stopping something happening. You're stopping something happening. And the potential of something amazing or wonderful taking place. Time is our best commodity. Use it wisely. Make time for what matters. There's nothing worse when someone says to you, I don't have time to meet up. I don't have time to show up. I can't be bothered to make the time. But there's something amazing when someone says, of course I'll make the time. Of course I'll do that because I want to make the time for you. What we're really saying is, you're important. That's important to you. You're important to me. That's what we're saying. When we lose time, when time's taken from us, when we lose our freedom through time, that matters. That's why we know that time is our best commodity. It's our most precious commodity. We can be frivolous with time. We don't pay enough attention to time usually. Look around in your life and ask yourself, what am I not paying enough attention to in this moment in time? What decisions do I need to make the most of the time in my life right now? We spend so much time focusing on the things that we're unhappy about, we're disappointed or discontented with, rather than making the time to make those changes to change how we feel. It's all about taking action. It's all about how we point our brain in the right way through the time that we use constructively. Make good use of your time. Thanks for listening.